There we go. It's recording. Okay, so today I am with a dear friend of mine, Kuba, and we are going to tell you all about crystal elixirs. So if you have ever wanted to switch your beauty products for a more natural and organic choice, if you want to have a more gentle and natural skincare routine because you have acne or rashes or pimples, well, you don't want to miss out on all the info that we are going to share with you today on those beautiful products coming straight from Mama Nature. So, Kuba, quick intro on you. You are from Czech Republic and you've been living in London for 8 years. And we are actually family because before being friends, you are first and foremost my cousin's boyfriend, who is as well very holistic as he's doing energy healings in London. And so you are passionate about spiritual practices and you create a variety of products. It's just crazy everything that you've been creating just from your house, from moon cycle tarot cards, which I love using every new moon, full moon. It's a beautiful guide, so thank you for those. And handmade candles with natural essential oils that they just smell divine. And your new project now, it's crystal elixirs. So for anyone that doesn't know what crystals are, these are those little things. These are stones that have healing properties and that are used mostly in spiritual practices like meditation, like energy healing. So this is for the crystals. And an elixir is a substance that is made out of oil. So either macademian oil, hazelnut oil, fractionated coconut oil, or even water. And that is used internally or externally for beauty purpose. So you have decided to combine healing and beauty, which I think is absolutely genius. And you have decided to create elixirs that are infused with healing crystals. So am I saying this correctly?
Oh, absolutely. I could put this on my CV. Awesome. And thank you so much, by the way. And what a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you. Thank you to have you here. I'm so happy. So those products are absolutely divine. They're 100% organic, 100% natural. So what made you start making those little beauties?
Oh my gosh, do I have things to tell you? So first off, I feel sitting like I'm just one of about 1 trillion of examples of this huge shift in paradigm we are experiencing right now. You know, all of us millennials, we are experiencing tumultuous societal and technological evolution in just a few years, literally, our short lifetimes, right? I mean, you're a bit younger than me, but I remember VHS being the thing, the only medium where you could experience films outside cinema or TV. Now that medium is completely dead. There's been such a major accelerated technological evolution, internet, smartphones, streaming, gaming. It is so overwhelming and took us on a journey of wonder and excitement, which is false though, because it somewhat distracts you from your spirituality, right? Because it takes you completely away from nature. Even though that's a fallacy as well, because even if, for example, me, I sit behind a computer at my work 8 hours a day, you can't never go away from nature really, because nature is us, nature is all around us. And even those computers, you know, the chips in computers, they are made from quartz. That is animated by electricity that in turn then shows you images and sounds of pretty much anything you want to see immediately. That's sort of a magic in its own right. Like 70 years ago, that would be a stuff of sci-fi novel, and we live it right now. So we've got a generation who's growing up completely dependent on technology, right? I mean, the other day I had a friend canceling a picnic with me because along the way, her phone discharged and she wouldn't be able to find me. I mean, that's fucking ridiculous. But this is the young generation nowadays. We are a culture depending on these stupid little devices to the point that these interactions literally change the way our spine is shaped. because we spend the whole day doing this.
Absolutely.
And literally, it's now proven that it changes our posture, the way our lungs are not able to take in the full capacity. This is just insane. And I have this theory. I think 2-3 generations from now, we'll be making these nostalgic sitcoms about kids growing up in 2019 and how ridiculous we were, like staring into our phones and depending on everything, on our interactions, on our directions, on our advices, on nutrition, on health, on our meditation, because if someone meditates nowadays, they use phone for it as well, which is what the big companies like Samsung, iPhone, Apple want us actually to think, that without the phone we are out, we can't do these things. So that's one thing. We've experienced this huge technological evolution in a very short time space, and it's all overwhelming and seems like fun and it's very tempting, but the main thing is that it's taking us away from nature. So for all its wonder and excitement, technology and our way of life nowadays fails to provide us with answers to bigger concerns and questions that on your journey necessarily you will start asking yourself anyway, like, what is the meaning of all of this? We spend 99% of our time locked in a workplace or homes that are literally designed to keep us away from nature, with their like perfect angles, with the material we are surrounded with all of the technological distractions, and somewhere in the background the restlessness is growing, right? And I mean, we are also being constantly let down and disappointed by our infrastructures, media, healthcare, don't even let me go to politics, and in some cases, religions too. I meet more and more young people, I meet more and more young people who are finding an organized religion of any type too narrow, too tight for a natural expression
Absolutely.
of wonder about the universe, life and its mysteries. Because you've got this prescription of rules and rituals that are locked into a certain institution, let's say, where you go a certain day of a week for a mass, and then you are advised to read this one book. Everything else is wrong, but you are advised to read this one book that provides you with answers to all the unknowable questions, which are already pre-digested for you, and tells you, oh, if you follow this set of rules, it means that when you die, this is what's going to happen to your soul. This is where it's going to go. This is the entities it's going to meet there. But if you don't follow the rules, there's another place for you of eternal suffering where you're going to go. And these are the entities you're going to encounter there. And if that's your groove, if that makes you feel at home, obviously, it is the way for you. There's nothing wrong with that. But I feel more and more people, young people, are turning to their own eclectic spirituality for answers instead, I feel. And to come back to your questions, when we start thinking beyond the realm of what we can see, touch, experience with our senses, when we start looking beyond our ego and earthly existence, we obviously turn to nature. Because just being in presence of mountains or forests or oceans, or even just holding a rock, it makes you come into a close contact with mysteries of creation, A, and B, your own mortality. Because the forests you walk through had been here for thousands and thousands of years and will be here. Well, perhaps the way we treat the planet, forests are not the best example, but let's say mountains will be here maybe for millions and millions of years after you perish. So in contact with nature, we are necessarily exposed to the sense of wonder, mystery of creation, plus sense of our own mortality, which I think that's where the spiritual thinking and spirituality is born. Not in Netflix, online shopping, sharing gifts on WhatsApp instead of sharing our lives and wisdom we collect on our journey. That's all very good for your 20s, because I feel like 20s are for you to find your way within a society, let's say.
Absolutely.
Establish your place within a society. But 30s, I'd say, when lots of people start doubling with beliefs and spirituality, are for finding your role within the bigger picture, the universe, let's say. So that's where this huge new influx of new age is coming from. I mean, right now, if you're a millennial and you don't at least have a pretty looking rose quartz, even if you're not working with it, sitting on your shelf, just looking beautiful, I would say you're in minority right now. And I've heard this said somewhere, and that's so beautiful, that crystals and gemstones are nature's way of making art. And what a beautiful metaphor, because art as well brings us outside ourselves, outside the tangible world of senses, into the place of abstract ideas, concepts, dreams, and beliefs. And I think that's where magic happens.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, and me, myself, why I embarked on this journey. So I'm the first one to admit, I lived a long time without thinking too deep about what I put on or in my body. But now that I'm speeding through my 30s, and I don't think that's the case anymore. I believe everything and anything we need for a wholesome, well-aligned life, inside and out, we already have in nature. It's just our mission nowadays, I think, to make sure we protect nature so we don't destroy it, actually. We protect it, and we keep bringing ourselves. And I really think I'm a bit optimistic, maybe, but I think that's the shift nowadays. We bring ourselves close to nature again to discover all of these gifts. And this might be controversial, but I really think, okay, this is a combination. If we're going to find a cure for cancer, let's say, it is probably going to happen in a lab, but it probably, I want to say, is going to have something to do with uncovering a mystery that's already present in a nature that we were just too busy or too distracted to dive into at first. And so my mission is to slowly replace all of the cosmetic products that I use with my own creations, combining natural oils and substances, essential oils, crystals, energies, and herbs. And that might be a lifelong journey, but the one that I feel, as you can tell probably, and that's as well, I'm really sorry, this is my third coffee today. So I'm sorry if I sound like a chipmunk on ketamine, but this is something I feel passionate about. And I'm putting these out there as I go for just people who are similarly aligned to share with.
Yeah, I mean, this is so true. We can really see the shift in so many conversations that I have with people my age about this sickness of the life that is created around us, how we are really hitting rock bottom, and it's we people even take those crazy extreme directions where they live off the grid and they are completely out of the system. It's not even just reducing your belonging to the society, it's a complete turning your back on society, and that's
true.
That's really crazy. So a lot of us have been using or are still using cosmetic products from pharmacies, from supermarkets, but these are very, very bad. So can you tell us why is that important to use natural skincare products?
Okay, so I think I'm guilty as charged as well in some cases, but I think this is a sort of a automated but reductionist and dangerous conditioning of the generations before us that are kind of spilling, carrying out into our current reality. Something we do completely absent-mindedly, and that's where the dangers lie, right? Before you start asking questions and you just act on impulses, which that's what advertisement is about, for example. I should know, I work in advertisement. Sorry, guys. So you see an advert, right? The advert basically tells you, if you buy our product, you look like Julia Roberts on our posters after 6 hours in hair and makeup. They throw in few exotic sounding names of chemical ingredients and a pretty flask. And you go online, click, and let's say L'Oreal cashes in. And you slather yourself with something that Julia Roberts herself never did and never would put on her face. That's just how advertising works, right? And it cashes on us following it blindly and with no deeper thought. It's not appealing to our thinking, it's appealing to our senses and our subconscious, and hoping that we won't start thinking for ourselves and asking questions. Myself, I've always been into skincare, as well as all the women of my tribe. I remember my grandma used to have this book on her shelf, and I used to see that when I was little, with a lady on the cover having some sort of like torture-looking face treatment done to her, and the book was called Beauty Hurts. And I think I carried that as a sort of internalized message for a long time. I would do microneedling, acid peels. I mean, people, acid. Why would you put that on your face? Anyway, or anything that's been pre-mixed by God knows who in a lab somewhere without even thinking, without once again questioning, going just with the results promised in some stupid advert or a poster with Julia Roberts, right? So we kind of are experiencing this big shift, yet we live in 2019, and I don't know how, but our most popular and most effective anti-aging treatment is injecting our faces with poison. Because, you know, that Botox is toxin created in a meat when it rots. It's exactly the same toxin that kills you if you ingest it. But somehow it's now generally accepted that to appear younger, you inject your facial muscles with poison so they are paralyzed and don't give you wrinkles. I mean, what the fuck? What the actual fuck? This is like a Terry Gilliam's satirical sci-fi comedy, except it's not. And then Celine, it does not even work. Because people more and more realize that no wrinkles does not equal aging beautifully, right? You have these celebrities, they are pumped full of fillers, Botox, God knows what treatments, and in their 60s, they look like a 20-year-old lizard. Absolutely. So you don't point them out when you talk about someone aging beautifully. We point at Meryl Streep, who, Jesus, is gonna turn 70 next year, and I think she's aging beautifully because she's aging naturally. And that's an adverb derived from the word nature, once again. And her beauty, I think, my opinion, comes first and foremost from being a kind and genuine person, right? Living a wholesome, aligned life. You have this feeling of balance and harmony, which you get from getting up every day to do what she loves, is good at, and actually through that is spreading joy to other people. And that's how she remains timeless in her beauty, because she allows for the age to manifest naturally, not ironing it out with needles, lasers, acids, and muscle paralyzers. It's so insane to me, even like when you say that actually out loud. It is crazy to think that this is what the beauty industry is about now in 2019. I think people are more and more shifting towards natural solutions, because those make you beautiful, actually. I think more than whatever chemical you can inject into your face. I still think people will talk about you as a beautiful person when you're in your 60s, if you stay away from that, basically, and you put yourself closer to nature.
Yeah, and more people are promoting this. Cameron Diaz wrote a book on longevity and aging, and and it's very crazy to see all the chemicals that are inside the creams. Someone said, if you cannot ingest it, so if you cannot eat it, do not put it in, because it's going to end up in your blood. So if you
it goes to your blood, yeah. Exactly. Absolutely.
And for anyone that wants to check, you know, what you have in your cabinet, whether it's good or not, there is this app called Think Dirty, and you're just scanning your creams and your makeup, and the app is going to tell you right away the exact composition of your products and all the chemicals that are inside. So I've seen so many posts on Instagram of women just having using the app and then trashing such everything from their cabinets, you know, just bags full of products that are just toxic for your skin.
And this just shows you, we just go by the advert, what advert says, and we don't think about these things. And then when someone pinpoints it, it's like, oh, all of a sudden the common sense kicks in, and you're like, oh, I didn't even think about checking what's in the stuff that I put on my face AM and PM.
Absolutely, yeah. And you haven't even mentioned it's not about trying to look like Julia Roberts. It's you forgot, like, yeah, the hours of makeup, but the hours of Photoshop.
Oh, absolutely. I know. That's an asset to the social media and Photoshop. I think did so much damage to so many young people and women in particular. It's atrocious. And as well, hopefully, one day this is going to be a stuff of anecdotes and jokes. But we are not there yet.
Absolutely, yeah. All right, back to the elixirs. Can you share with us a little bit about the process of making those beauties? How do we do this? How do we infuse? How do we create those bad boys?
Okay. All right. So for me personally, it all starts with dreaming up a perfect product, the perfect combination of ingredients I myself stand by and dedicate myself to use without being tempted or having to look anywhere else, right? Big part of the process is just to plunge into research, which I love. I kind of sort of already miss academia, even though after my failed PhD, I was like, never again. But so this is kind of in the same line. I just dive into books and research. And I'd say after years and years of being passionate about skincare, I do have a good idea now. But this is a lifelong study, right? New trends, new discoveries, new ideas are constantly coming up. So I look outside of my own knowledge for inspiration, and then finding out where to get my hands, where I can purchase the best organic, naturally sourced ingredients. And I just collect the ingredients, keep them, and just dream up the ways I can make them work together. So I'm also learning to take my time with it, which for me as a proper Leo with moon in Aries and ascendant in Scorpio, patience is a very challenging concept. I think it's the one that pays off. I don't know yet. But I'm learning to sit with ideas and projects, not manifest them straight away. Okay. Because in that stillness, they often can take a different form, evolve beyond that first instinctual burst of creative energy. So, for example, I've got this base oil for an eye balm brewing at the moment. So it's for all the concerns that that we can have with the condition of the skin around eyes, dark circles, puffiness, but also the wrinkles around the eyes and like lifting, plumping the area. So I have oils combined together like sea buckthorn, cacao oil. Google it, people. It's the best new natural ingredients for around the eye area. Cacao oil, sweet almond oil, evening primrose, pomegranate seed oil, and it's macerating for a few weeks now with the most potent herbs for, once again, the sensitive area around the eyes, which are gotu kola, bilberry, coffee, obviously, matcha green tea, and maca. And so after about 3 weeks, I will mix this oil base with 100% shea butter and some essential oils like cucumber seed, a carrot seed, frankincense, chamomile, and oh my days, I can't wait to start using this baby.
Wow.
So this is one of my new ideas that I'm not necessarily charging with crystal energy yet. Okay. But with all of my other products, don't forget, this is not just pouring stuff in a bottle. There's also an element of magic, charging the crystals that I use with certain intent. This would start with cleansing crystals, which can be done by smudging, which means burning sage, or even an incense cone or incense stick. Mm-hmm. So the smoke removes all the unwanted, negative, pre-programmed energies or sound. It was my Christmas gift. I use a singing bowl for that. Or under running water. There's so many options. Just once again, Google is your best friend. Or just simply holding it and visualizing your crystals being surrounded by white light that cleanses all the unwanted, all the negative energies out of it. And the next step would be, once again, this sounds so technical, but charging it with your own intent, which literally is just communicating to the crystal. Even it could be your thought, it could be whispering to it, breathing at it, just trying to visualize and charge it this way with an intent of how you want it to work for you, how you want it to work with you, what kind of energies you want for them to manifest in your life. And then, because I'm a sucker for a moon, I charge it under a full moon and with some other secret ritualized elements.
Same. Okay, so until here we have the oil that is, so a mixture of oil that you keep fermenting with certain herbs. From there, you're going to add some drops of essential oils. And from there, you're going to add some crystals that you have cleaned and that you have charged, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. So now we have touched on the making process and the benefits of those elixirs. With all the work that the work and knowledge that this requires, I'm sure people wonder what is the average price of a bottle of elixir. What can you tell us about this? And do you have one to show us and
yeah,
share some of that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll show you in a bit.
That's can you tell us a little bit before about the wonders that it does, and then how much we use it and what part of the body, because you talked about the eyes, on our bodies, what quantity do we use?
Absolutely. So I'm first going to address the price, right? And this is going to differ person from person, the way they probably the licenses they have for studying these products as well, the taxes they have to pay, the amount of work they put in. Some people would just take a picture. It could be the case with a homemade cream with rose quartz on it and say this has been charged with rose quartz. Who knows? Some people, hopefully most of them, are being ethical about this and do literally do their best to transfer the vibrational pattern of rose quartz into their cream if they set it as a rose quartz cream. It doesn't take just you take a picture with rose quartz or make it seem a bit pink for it to be a rose quartz elixir, right? So the price would necessarily differ and reflect the amount of commitment to making this product as well, I think. I had lots of people locked in this productivity and money-making mindset asking me, oh yeah, this is what you're doing, but did you do your market research? Is this a marketable idea? Is there a demand for this? What is your revenue? What is your net turnover? And to that, I always say, do not fucking drag me into your world of productivity hell. I do have a job, right, that helps me pay my bills. And I also happen to have a huge passion for natural skincare. I'm not building a Steve Jobs type of empire. I'm just trying to share my journey with people who might feel and think about self-care the same way I do. So I do not hysterically overproduce. I'm taking my time, as I said, experimenting, researching, testing. And if I create something I believe in and I can stand by, I share it with the world and slowly keep getting new creations that evolve on my own journey to replace all the store-bought chemicals concoctions with my own handmade 100% natural creations. So far there is I've got this baby that was my first. So I call it Idun's apple. That's based, you would read in the product descriptions on Etsy about it. It's based on this a beautiful northern mythology story. It's a facial mist, because I know it's not for everyone, but I love the feeling of just like when you're hot or when you're feeling a bit, I don't know, I sit behind the computer the whole day. Sometimes you need a bit of refreshment. I don't want to just put anything that I got in boots on my face and think, oh, it might have seen cucumber for a speed train, so it must be hydrating for me. So I made this concoction because I'm a sucker for a glowy, radiant skin. I don't care how old you are, but if your skin is dull, it makes you look even older. So in here, I've got many different ingredients, amongst them orange flower water, which is a orange flower hydrosol, manuka honey, but can be done without to be completely vegan. That's the only non-vegan ingredient. Manuka honey water, witch hazel, which is a amazing herb, as we know, that's used everywhere as a toner. So this can be used as a toner as well. I actually nowadays, because unfortunately it's not so hot in London yet, so I don't use it as a facial spritz refresher. I use it in the morning after I wash my face as a toner before I apply anything else, and the same in the evening. So it's got this aloe vera juice as well, and few drops of different essential oils, sweet almond oil, and apple seed essential oil as well, which is I think it's going to be appearing in more and more products. It's meant to be amazing for our skin. And bits of, so this is infused with rose quartz and citrine. Rose quartz is, if you ever look for a beautifying and plumping, age reversing, youth preserving stone, rose quartz is your baby. They do even like these. So I've got it here somewhere, actually not at hand, but they do the facial rollers from rose quartz as well.
I do have one,
yeah. Or like little cuts of rose quartz that are kind of flat like this, that are used for just infusing your products in the face. Once again, I think big part of this, because the mystery of stones is one of the things that's unknowable, and that, I guess, runs best on belief. But if you want to be purely technical, just taking time to ritualize your skincare with a stone, do the lymphatic drainage massage on your face, that already counts. That's already better than to just go, okay, hitting the pillow. You know, so I think that's already making magic. I've got a energy cleansing spray for bedroom. I call it the Star of Ishtar. Ishtar being a goddess of a marriage and harmonious household, let's say. So these have, once again, because I love combining oils, herbs, and crystals, it's got 3 herbs, 3 essential oils, and 3 different crystals that are that's been a long research put together specifically to remove stagnant, unwanted, hostile energies from your bedroom, whilst increasing stuff that you want to keep in your bedroom, like closeness, feeling of safety, vivid, beautiful dreams, rest, and feeling of safety, right? And harmony in between partners. And then my latest baby is this hair oil. I call it Mane of Sif, because Sif, once again, in Northern mythology, was she was a wife of Thor, actually, who had this beautiful golden locks of hair that's been stolen by Loki, obviously. Anyhow, this is combining Mukite, Unakite, and Moonstone. So 3 stones that are meant to be the best for connective tissue, hair growth, scalp health. Then oils and essential oils, so many: basil, lemongrass, rosemary, obviously, juniper berry, that are good for lustrous hair, hair growth, thinning hair, just, you know, and nourishing your scalp and bringing that nourishment to your follicles as well. So for now I'm testing these on myself, but as you can see, they're working really well. Then my hair blue. No, that's a joke, by the way. That was completely intentional, even though I regret it now. But let's not go there. But yeah, so yeah, that's it. That's my journey so far. I really hope to find the best way how to do a shampoo and shower gel, and as well a deodorant, because you know there's so much shit in our deodorants. It's preposterous. Once again, the same as Botox, 2019. And we don't even think about it. We just run into the booths when we feel a bit sweaty and get a deodorant that literally has poisons in it. Literally. And mercury or lead. Like, what the heck?
Yeah, exactly. And our armpits are directly, this is where the toxins come out, but this is where everything comes in. It's exactly just like your mouth is completely open. It doesn't look like it, but it's completely open to bacteria. Yeah. Now, for everyone that would like to do their own elixir at home, but you know that just doesn't have all the ingredients, all the oils and everything, can you tell us about water elixirs that are much easier for first step homemade elixir?
Oh, absolutely. So guys, this is as simple as having an intention, having a belief, desire, and manifesting it consciously. So I give you an example. I love following the moon phases, as you know, and their zodiac energies. So let's say we've got a full moon in Libra coming up in April. And Libra is all about beauty, harmony, and balance. So what I do to support and amplify these energies for myself is selecting a crystal that carry these vibes. I'd say for beauty, once again, a simple rose quartz, perhaps. Jade for aligning mind, body, and soul, and rhodonite that balances emotions. So you want to make sure to do your research, because some of the crystals are actually toxic for us to ingest. They could contain mercury or other substances harmful for us. So it's always advisable to either surround your water bottle with crystals. Some people use crystal grids for that. Oh, they so Instagrammable, looking so beautiful, but I just don't have necessarily always time for creating them, or so many crystals to actually create beautiful patterns and put my water bottle in the middle. But there are solutions for that, right? So I got this thing. Yeah. So that's enough, because the idea is, as you probably know, all the matter, no matter how solid it seems, it's comprised, could be broken down to tiny little elements, atoms that are vibrating. And there's different vibrational patterns. They do affect water or liquid. There's lots of research on that. I'm sure people are already aware. It's been repeated throughout social media so many times, especially if you're a bit spiritually minded. Water takes on the vibrations of whatever you plunged into it, or even the thought that you sent toward it. However, the crystals, I would not advise necessarily without a research to just chuck them into the water and then drink it in the morning. It will not kill you, but let's not do it, because there's other solutions. So the most basic, if you don't have anything else, is what I started with. Just take a bowl, fill it with water, put your crystals in a shot glass. Just this shot glass from New Orleans, where I've never been. But so you put your crystals in the shot glass, place it into the bowl, and surround it with water, right? So it doesn't really touch physically the crystals. And then whatever method you want to use, you charge them with the intent, with the work you ask gently and expect them to do for you. And then if you're anything like me, you place it under the moonlight to amplify and let kind of macerate with the vibrational energy, which each crystal has a different one. And for that, once again, Google your best friend. But if you're like me, are a sucker for things that you can hold in your hand, I have a treat for you. So I went through loads and loads of crystal books. And whenever something does not really vibe with me, I just pass it on until I find the one thing I can stick with forever and ever. And I found it. And now you can find it as well. It's this book. It's the best. So the author is Robert Simmons, The Book of Stones. It is the ultimate Bible that you can keep home. It's got everything you need about crystals, affirmations, complete biochemical profile of each crystals that I'm just skipping. I'm not really interested. Anecdotes, the ideas how to work with it, if it's toxic, if it's not toxic, all the things you can do with certain crystals, how to program it. I really highly recommend it. I promise you, I've never met Mr. Simmons. He didn't pay me for this. It's just my recommendation as someone who went through lots of research, usually sitting on internet, but then, because that's part of my job as well, I want to limit my time off internet when I'm not at work. So I wanted to have something that's like a staple that I can have at home.
There we go. I lost you for a second. Kuba. We have lost Kuba. Okay, sorry about this. There was a little bug. Go ahead, continue.
Okay, so book recommendation,
Yes.
just putting that aside. I told you about the method of placing a shot glass or a smaller bottle into a larger bottle of water or oil, whatever you want your crystals to be to infuse with their vibrational pattern. If you want to go more high tech, let's say, I got this little baby, which is a water bottle that you can carry around. It's got this little glass pot that you can fill with your own crystals. I'm not going to necessarily tell you about the brand, but just if you go on Google once again, do crystal water bottles, you'll find so many choices. Some of them absolutely will break your bank account. Some of them, this one was kind of okay. And I knew that I wanted something where you can actually replace the crystals inside with your own. So there's a silicone little thing inside that stops it from leaking into the water. You put your crystals here. Let me actually demonstrate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that's the subject I wanted to touch on as well. The bottles that already have some crystals inside. Yeah, that's super cool.
So you fill it with your own crystals that you'd like your water or your oil to be infused with, like this. Then close it in with the silicone thing. So you end up with something like this, right? And then you have this bit that you just screw on.
Love it.
Fill it with water from the top. I don't know if you can see it properly.
Yeah.
Close it up. And then this you can leave under the full moon, as I do, or just let it on the sun. But careful, once again, research is your best friend, because some crystals fade on the sun. And yeah, carry it around. And I feel like you've seen now there's about a dozen different methods, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what I think is the most important part is working with them consciously and mindfully. That's what animates, what elevates the process into something magical. And charge them on a full moon, really asking it, visualizing how you'd love them to work for you. Leave it overnight and drink the next day once again, visualizing you are not drinking water, you are drinking elixir that carries the properties of your chosen stones. And if you want to go completely abandon the magical thinking, because for some people, still, that's a lot of woo-woo, unless it's been backed by science, it doesn't count. So if you want to abandon that completely, we can see this as just subconscious programming, right? But we know now scientifically that works. Your subconscious beliefs can make you ill or can cure you. And nobody has explanation for that. They call it placebo, which is such a huge term. But I feel like even though the vibrational patterns of these stones are not necessarily visible and tangible to you, doing this in a ritualized way with intent, mindfully visualizing, that already is doing magic. And that already changes us in a positive way and the way we go about our day and about our life.
That's so interesting. Thank you for showing the bottle. I really love the idea, and I was actually I didn't really know how to do this on my own, so that's really cool. Where can people find you and those beautiful products you are creating?
Okay, so there's many, I must say, many more and more companies are now embracing this trend of people trying to stave off chemicals and something that they don't understand towards something that is created perhaps by someone they know and trust, but at least with ingredients that they know and trust. So there's many, many, many people, and that's so beautiful. And I hope this shift and this trend will continue, that are on Etsy, which is a marketplace for just simple folks who are just trying to share their products with similarly minded people. Or even if you go on Google, even the big cosmetic companies are trying to ride that trend. They say like I'm not going to name the names, but it's quite high profile companies that are now proposing cleansers with quartz or tourmaline, because tourmaline is meant to be really, that's a stone that's actually can retain and transmit electric energy. So that's something that we necessarily maybe want to put on our face, because the electric current once again stimulates collagen and keeps us looking young, even though, as I said, I don't think that's necessarily looking beautiful. But so there's lots of companies who are trying to cash on it. And when you know the name already, you are most likely to go with them. But I would encourage people, please, 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 look around. I know it's a bit of an effort. It's not as easy as to come to a drugstore and get a product, but do your research. Contact the people if you have any questions about what's their policy, what's their ethics, what's their way of creating the products. I would say in 99% of cases, in the independent creators, let's say like me, the idea is not to make money. The idea is to provide something that you spend lots of time researching and believe in, with people who might, A, not have necessarily the same level of knowledge or the same level of resources, or just can't be bothered, or just want to give their spiritual new age auntie a good gift that doesn't come from a Garnier, or L'Oreal. So I would say, definitely do your research. For me, myself, it's going really slowly for now, but as you can see, very passionately. I have a blog. It's mylavondys.com, which is spelled MYLAVONDYSS.com, and all of the good shit that I do, I think about, I blog. I'm trying to blog regularly about moon phases and tarot, which is my other big passion. So tarot cards, the spreads I do for myself or other people, meanings of tarot cards that go beyond what you read in the old books, and moon, especially zodiac signs and different astrological seasons. We are now in Aries. So excited! I feel the fire. There's a section there, offerings, which is linked to my Etsy store, where you can get my free lunar alignment card for 2019, which has all of the new and full moons for 2019, free to download, print. I did that myself for myself and my friends. There's a how-to as well included. That's my completely free offering, and I hope that people will find it and find it actually inspirational. Even if you use it 3-4 times during the year, there's a lot of research behind it, and my hope is that it will help people to align themselves better with the energies that are flying around every month. We used to do that as pagan folks. We used to be so much in touch with nature and its cycles, and we, in last 150, 200 years, we did everything we could to isolate ourselves from the nature, starting with how we live, how we work, what we use for our work, how we consume stuff as well. It's just, if I don't have to touch anything that's natural, it's the best. You can even, like, I don't know in France, but in London, you can even now buy pre-cut avocados.
Oh, wow.
Like, just so people don't have to touch nature in any way or do anything themselves. You just buy it cut for yourself already. This to me is a bit of...
Yeah, this is crazy.
Anyhow, so as I said, My Lavondys is my website. It's my Etsy store as well. So if you put My Lavondys in Etsy, you'll find my store. And obviously, Instagram, Twitter, the same. It's just my_Lavondys, but it will probably come up on eBay. And I offer tarot readings. I offer whatever I trust and believe and tested myself in there. And if you just want to talk and have a discussion, that would be awesome as well. I feel like people are a bit like, we are not used to question or talk or investigate the people who provide us with any type of service. You just pay for the service and then if it's not great, if it fails you, you complain. Or in some instances, you're left with not being able to do anything. But I am not a company, I am a person. So if you just want to reach out and tell me anything or just talk or become friends, I'm available. I feel like we need more of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean you're doing the tarot reading, so this is so good when we want to know, am I going in the right direction? You know,
Yeah.
everybody, so many people from our generation are so lost with their career right
Yeah.
now. They're so lost with their relationship. They don't even know what's how to keep a relationship
Yeah.
so it's really not necessarily to give us all the steps, but to show us
Yeah.
direction and some guidelines.
Yeah.
This really help us.
And you know, I can just tell you what cards came up for you. But so last week I did a reading for an actress in New York. How awesome! A young girl asking about her career, her love life, and I tell her which cards came up. But what I keep saying to my clients is the meaning and the change comes from you. You already know what needs to be done. You just need someone who doesn't know you, who's not your friend, telling you, oh, you're doing really great, who just tells you, okay, this card comes up, it usually means this. But you inside, you will know the best what it's appealing to, what it's asking you to pay attention to. And just to get, I love reading for my friends, but when you read for strangers and you get a feedback saying, oh my God, this made me realize few things, this made few things real for me, this made a few things come into perspective for me, that's honestly, that's the best.
Exactly.
That's the best reward for me, and I hope for them as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I really hope that one day I will be able to provide similar service, let's say, with my natural cosmetic products. If not, that's fine, people. You don't have to use them. You just have to envy me when I look 12 in my 60s. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'll deal with it.
I will link everything below, and as well, people get your set of moon cycle tarot cards, because I just love using them. It's such a great help when there is the new moon, then you can just have your little card and you know what this new moon is all about, as all the new moons are different, all the full moons are different. So it's a really nice guide to just say, okay, today what's going on, what's the energy I need to focus on, what's the things I need to focus on, what are some shifts that are going to happen. So it's a really good guide. So thank you so much for this, and thank you for sharing knowledge, spreading the love, making such a positive impact in the world. Oh, and for sharing everything that you do. It's just it's so good, so good, so good.
Thank you so much. That was so much fun and such a pleasure. And your hair looks beautiful, I must say.
Well,
can you send samples over?
I hope to use your oil very soon.
You don't need it yet. But I'll send you samples as soon as I can.
It's out. All right, thank you so much. Ciao.
Lots of love.
Lots of love.